Hello, my name is Benjamin Piper, also goes by Golden Bacon. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am here with the Bitter Lemons, a smaller group from the UK, but is showing more promise as time goes on with more and more gigs. Today I'll be asking them a couple questions like what the future of the band might look like and what their inspirations are. The Bitter Lemons, how are you?
We're good. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. It's been a pleasure. So for my first question, how would you describe your music to anyone who hasn't heard it before, or what genre are you guys trying to shoot for?
So we we sort of work with the moniker of we're not your daddy's rockabilly. So we sort of straddle the genres of rockabilly, rock and roll, and 60s garage.
Oh.
Um, so we're not the sort of twee, squeaky clean rockabilly that, you know, your daddy might listen to. But we like to blend those sort of three genres and give them kind of like a modern edge.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty unique. Now, when I was doing actually research for you guys, I ran into an Australian band from the 60s. So I thought that was pretty fitting. Did you guys know about them at all?
No.
Only
No.
like, only kind of when we actually sort of established the name for a bit, and then I sort of saw, oh right, there was a 1965 band. I don't know if they like died in a tragic
Yeah,
thing or something like that. But
I
yeah,
think they have
just
like a
thought
really
that.
tragic story, didn't they?
Yeah, from what I remember researching. But yeah, so I was
I
like,
hear
well, they're probably not
that.
going to bother us, so it's fine.
Yeah. But
No
you've had
copyright
the
strike.
New.
right. But you've had the name The Bitter Lemons in your head for years, haven't you?
Yeah, so when I was like 19, 20, thinking my blues rock band was gonna sort of make it sort of thing, I was like, if I ever get a solo project, I want Richie James and the Bitter Lemons. So when you were looking for a rockabilly name, I was like, that would actually fit quite well, to be fair. I think my original suggestion was Haley Jones and the Bitter Lemons. You were like, nah, I don't want to be like,
But it was a bit egotistical.
yeah. And here we are, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another question I have. Where did you guys come up with the name Bitter Lemons?
Like I said, I don't know why it sort of came to me in that way. It just sounded like a good name. I don't know why it was. It wasn't like it was just like if I ever have a solo band, that's what it is. And I don't know why. It just come to me. Like I like a fair bit of the songwriting sort of stuff where it's just like I can't explain why this sort of song or lyric ideas got into my head, but it's there and
Almost
run with it.
like an earworm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that works. That works. And that does it sometimes. So, how did you guys all meet each other? How did this whole thing get started?
So, as you can see, we're under the same roof. Me and Richie and I are married.
Nice.
Um, we've been married for 10 years this year. We've been together 12 years. And then Dave, who is our guitarist, do you want to explain how you met Dave?
So we went to the same school. So he was the year below. Though he's had the beard since he was like 14, so he's always looked older than me. But yeah, we sort of started playing in bands when we were like 17, 18, and then he sort of gave it up from when he was about 24, 25. So I kept doing like punk bands and things like that. And then the last couple of years he's come back into to playing, hasn't he? So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then Beckett, who we've got on drums. Basically, we just met him just via the kind of music scene. The sort of Birmingham music scene is everybody knows everybody, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's in three or four bands.
Generally because there's only four drummers.
There's generally about four drummers. So I think at the time Beck was in four bands.
At
You
one
were
point,
in
yeah.
four
At
bands.
one point, yeah.
Um, and we all kind of rehearsed at the same studio. We all hang out at the same venues and we all kind of knew each other from that kind of
Mhm.
thing. And when we formed the band, I think we've told this story quite a few times, but it's our foundation story. Um, so Beckett and I were at a club called the Night Owl, which is in Birmingham. It's a Northern Soul club. And we were talking to the promoter there. We'd had a few drinks, and we said, "Oh, we're going to start a band." And Mazzy, who's the promoter, just called us out and just said, "Well, I've got a weekend for International Women's Day. Do you guys want a gig?" And that was about 8 weeks' time.
Oh my
In 12
gosh.
weeks' time, we're like, oh, we actually have to do this now. So obviously, look no further than my resident, probably one of the best bass players in Birmingham.
Hey,
Can you please make
all
this happen
right.
with me? And best friend Dave, who we've known for years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that was that first gig then.
Yeah,
And Dave was only ever going to come in as a sort of temporary measure, wasn't he, at that
yeah,
point? So we got another guitarist in for a little bit past
yeah,
that point after lockdown.
yeah. So
Um,
we've had a bit of a rotating cast of guitarists, haven't we?
yeah, but
So
Dave's back in and has been in for the last like since November last year.
yeah, so Dave's a founding member. He took a little break and then he's back now. He's been back in for about 6 months.
No, yeah,
About a year.
November, wasn't it?
Mm.
So,
yeah. And if I'm not wrong, I think you guys started like was it before COVID or during
yeah,
COVID? Yeah.
just as the curtain fell basically because it
Yeah,
was I think it was the 12th of
Gosh.
March 2020 something like that
yeah.
Yeah,
as that
talk about a bad
came into play.
time.
Hmm.
So that sort of put a bit of a stopper to things at that
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
But
Yeah, to the point where we bought like one of these little like recording interfaces. And we're like, we can make this work in lockdown, right? We were planning to like trail cables and things out of our windows to try and keep something going, but that was
yeah.
ambitious and didn't really work.
But hey, but at least it gave you guys a break to actually like work on some stuff that you guys wanted to work on instead of like rushing to the stage and like, oh, we gotta put up a band, we gotta put up a song, we gotta put all these things together. So at least it gave you some kind of break that you guys could work with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because Beckett is a doctor.
Okay.
So I think obviously COVID time was very difficult for
Yeah.
them. So yeah, the fact that we lived together meant that we could still work on things, even when other members of the band were, you know,
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure, especially at that time.
Yeah.
Um, so for you two, what made you want to do music in the first place?
Do you want to go first?
Okay. So I was like one of those kids in the Sunday school plays and all that sort of stuff. So I used to sing and never had any sort of ambitions to ever play an instrument. And at about 17 years old, basically singer that I knew of a band basically was like, "Oh, we need a bass player. Come in and play for us." I was like, "Can't play anything. I can sing. That's about it." And he just went, "No, it's easy. It's fine." I mean, he's kind of a little bit wrong about that, but but yeah, I picked it. I picked up the fundamentals, and then when we got Dave into that band, like that's where it sort of accelerated my progress of learning to play an instrument in the first place because he's a virtuoso sort of guitarist. I think he was one of those sort of annoying kids at 12 that could play
He's
everything.
one of those annoying adults. He's just very good at everything.
He can watch one YouTube video and then he can like take out a window in his house and put a sofa in by himself.
Is
That's
he
the
pitch
sort of,
perfect?
yeah,
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
that's so annoying.
Like I can go to
God,
band practice and sing something, and he goes, "That's the key of C," and it's just like, how do you do that? That's not fair.
yeah.
that's not fair at all. Gosh.
Um,
But yeah, but under his sort of glare of making an error and having to quickly correct it, I've got decent quickly. So, but yeah, I always wanted to perform. Always loved performing in front of people.
Yeah.
Always like creating. Didn't really realize that I was actually creative until I was probably in my 30s because I just thought everybody had got songs going around in their head. But that's just what everybody does, and apparently not. So
yeah, proper sweet little baby Richie boy writing little blues numbers about church bangers.
yeah,
Church bangers
yeah.
at like what, 10?
Yeah, writing R&B songs at 10 years old. Terrible with my cousins. But yeah, I thought everybody could do that, but apparently not. So yeah.
And so I was in bands when I was a teenager.
Okay.
I played bass. I'm nowhere near as good as Richie, but I played bass. I was in sort of like metal bands when I was a teenager. Um, and then again, I didn't really know that I could sing. I'd sing at home, sing in the car, sing in the shower. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
And I think it was we were driving once somewhere, and you were like, "Since when could you sing?" I was like, "Oh, I really can."
But she undersells herself. She used to do musical theatre when she was a
Oh
kid.
yeah, I did.
So
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
I
that's
still
fair.
did.
Yeah.
But yeah, and but like my mum's a great singer. My grandma was a
Hmm.
great singer. So it kind of is in the family.
Hmm.
But I needed a bit of coaxing and
Cajoling
encouragement.
because I was playing in a punk band for about getting on for 10 years next year, but basically like we do gigs and everything else, and you're a bit like I'd love to do like because you love rock and roll, you love
Yeah.
rockabilly, your mum sort of got you into that when you were a little
Yeah,
kid.
my mum and dad are really into rockabilly.
And even though you've had different phases like hardcore and metal and all that sort of stuff, it's always sort of kept with you, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, when that opportunity came along and you were a bit nervous about the fact of, well, we've got only 8 weeks, so we went, "Well, just do it. We'll get something together. And we just did like a cover set for that gig, didn't we?
Yeah, a whole set of covers um for that first one.
Okay.
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably our musical origins anyway. And
Yeah.
like I say, I've been in and out of bands in Birmingham since I was like 17, about 20 years now, which is scary.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, when you see
congratulations.
people coming up to you and saying, I saw your band when I was 14, and you're like, oh,
And they're like in their 20s or something, and you're like, that was my last band. That was a band that was like, yeah,
you're a
that,
baby.
that feels like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And you were 14 then after.
Well, people aren't calling me baby anymore. I mean, like I just turned 21 yesterday, so I
Oh,
like
happy
people are,
birthday.
Congrats.
yeah, thank you.
You were also a baby.
Yeah, pretty much. I
21
get
is a
that a
wild
lot.
time.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, slowly but surely getting up there. But so for my next question, I guess you kind of answered this. What's your inspiration for making your songs?
So
Anything
Richie is our
particular?
main songwriter.
Okay.
Mm.
Because as you've already mentioned, you get these weird
Get easy in my head.
little
Yeah.
ditties and little melody lines and
And
things.
then I've never played a cordial instrument. So basically what happens is usually in the shower, just singing along to myself, and then I get the bass afterwards and go, right, what are the sort of underpinning notes to this? And then I take it to a guitarist and a drummer and go, can we flesh this out as an idea? And then that becomes a song. Um, but musical influences then, like for this sort of genre, I love people like Little Richard. I love
Mhm.
rockabilly with a rawer edge. I don't
Yeah,
like you like a little bit more twee stuff, like
I
your
do.
Connie Francis and people like that. Whereas I like things which the fundamentals of what would become rock and roll in the 60s and 70s and like punk and things like that were Little Richard and Chuck Berry and people like that. So I take influence from that, but I also take influence from like that sort of 60s doo-wop sort of thing because I'm sort of writing for you, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So it's a bit
yeah,
of a different sort of process to what I probably
Sure.
experienced before, where I'm in my head going, well, actually, I kind of want to write things from your perspective. So sometimes like I try to interweave that into it as well.
yeah. I think so that's kind of like the songwriting process, but like musically, we've all got slightly different inspirations, haven't we? So, as you've already mentioned, you like the kind of like the 50s rock and rollers and like the punk stuff that came out of it. Like, Joe Strummer was massively influenced by a lot of the 50s rock and rollers, a lot of the sort of punk originators were punk is basically sped up rock and roll, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
but I like a lot of the sort of female rock and rollers and rockabilly, the sort of lowrider oldies kind of vibe.
Mhm.
People like Wanda Jackson, Janice Martin, those kind of people. But then Dave is a big blues guy,
Yeah, like Rory Gallagher
Rory
and Stevie
Gallagher,
Ray Vaughan
those kind
and
of people.
Hendrix and
Yeah.
people like that.
Yeah.
And then Beck likes all of the above, but also loves a bit of like doom metal
And punk.
and punk
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. So we meet in the middle at kind of
Yeah.
um you know people like Johnny Burnett Trio who have got that kind of
Edge.
rougher grittier sound, or people like the Cramps who
Hmm.
have got that kind of
Garage rock.
rockabilly garage edge but with
Mhm.
a bit more sleaze.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty fun. And so you just all kind of put it together, basically, all your
Yeah.
Yeah.
inspirations at once. That's pretty cool. So,
Yeah, and I think you can hear that as well. I think you can
Hmm.
hear that.
There's a melting pot.
Mm.
yeah, for sure. So, for the songwriting process, what would you say is the most difficult part of making the songs that you guys made so far?
From a songwriting point of view, sometimes it's kind of like as I say, I've got these sort of ideas in my head. I've got melodies in my head. I've got, but sometimes that's hard to put that across to people. So you kind of like sometimes that can be an amazing thing because obviously you can sort of give your sketch to somebody and they sort of either get it or they improve upon it. And then sometimes you give it to somebody and you're like, ah, right, you really don't get what I'm going on about, but I can't communicate. I can't speak drum. I can't speak guitar. So it's so that's probably the most difficult part of songwriting, I think, just sort of that communication of an idea. And sometimes that can work really well and really speedily, and other times that can just fall flat on its face. I really want to get this song done in this way,
I
but
can't explain to you what's in my head.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably
and
the
there.
most difficult bit for me, really, um, from that point
But
of
then
view.
there's been other times when you've bought like the bare bones of a song in, you've thought you've wanted something, and then someone's gone, well, I think it kind of this
Hmm.
works. Yeah, actually,
Yeah,
that's 10 times better than what I was thinking.
correct, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I've been there a little bit and done that. I mean, back in the old songwriting days for me, I've been like, okay, I want it to sound exactly like this. I would have like a whole like spiel. I'll be like, okay, I want this, 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 and this, and then it just falls completely flat. And I abandoned the project. Yeah. But moving on to a different question. If you guys could co collaborate with any artist right now, who would it be?
I know who mine is. Do you want me to go first so you can think?
yeah, go for it.
Les
Yeah.
Green.
Les Green.
Les Green.
Wow.
Have you heard of him?
I've heard, I think, one of his songs. I'm not too sure, but I
Is
thought he was
that
pretty
Can You
good.
Keep a Secret, the one that he's recently released?
I have not heard that one, but
Okay,
I
so Les
will.
Green. Okay, Les Green is amazing. In all ways. His voice is incredible. His stage presence is incredible. Um, just his existence is incredible as like a queer person of color in the rockabilly scene, challenging all these things and just ripping it up. Like he's literally like the modern day Little Richard. I love him. I think his band is called the Swayzes. But he does like solo stuff and stuff with the Swayzes, and he would be my choice. I love him.
I think you like him.
Just a bit, just a bit.
Just a
So
tiny
Les
bit.
Green, Les Green. If ever you do see this,
Yeah.
your gal, your gal would love to collaborate.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What about
Richard,
you?
is there
Um,
anyone you like?
Probably Shannon the Clams.
Shannon Shaw,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Cody.
Cody Grady, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what his surname is, but that's his
No,
Instagram handle.
no, but they are very good songwriters,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
they we take a lot of inspiration from them to go a fusion of like 50s, 60s. I mean, they even
Mhm.
go to a bit of 70s sort of stuff with some of the stuff that they do. Um, Went to see them last year, didn't we, in London? Quite an
Yes.
intimate gig of about 1,000 people for them. That was in because I think they were on tour with Black Keys at the time, weren't
Yes, they were on tour with Black Keys, but then they
they?
kind of plugged a few missing dates with some headline shows, but only at like 1,000 capacity venues.
Mm.
And it was electric, wasn't it? It
Yeah,
was
it's
amazing.
grand, but yeah, it's really good. But that, yeah, they're a big influence on us. So yeah, I would if I was to collaborate with somebody, that would be cool to sort of get an insight in the way that they work. That'd be wicked.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to sing though in front of Shannon Shaw because she's just like,
You could duet or something.
yeah,
You could do a collaboration of some
I think
kind.
I'd just choke. Just be like,
You'd be background. You could be a background singer or something like that, or just
sure.
together. It could be duet.
Or just that little like soundboard of me crying. Maybe.
Maybe, for sure.
Maybe. Just squealing in fangirl.
Well, speaking of venues and other stuff like that and bands, if you guys could play at any venue you guys would like, where would it be?
Are we talking like realistic?
Yeah,
Or completely
well, maybe not.
unrealistic?
Let's just go crazy. Any venue you want, anything,
Hmm.
right now.
I'd like to, is it the Red Rock?
Oh, Red Rock.
Yeah, I'd
That's
like to.
ambitious.
That is
Wow.
ambitious, yeah. But if you're saying fantasy, that'd be
Never know.
great. Isn't it? At sunset at the Red Rock. Hmm. I quite like that. Always like the bigger the stage, the sort of more epic something. I'm always down for that. So yeah.
Yeah. And realistic?
Um,
realistic. Otto Schrinkenhead
Yeah,
in New York.
yeah, that'd be
You
cool.
know?
Yeah,
So we when we went on holiday
Mhm.
in
19.
2019, and we had a great time there. We went and watched some bands. Vibes really cool. It was great. So I
Yeah,
would like to play there. And our pals have just played there.
yeah, Cape
So it's
Town, the
like
girls. Yeah.
fresh in the front of my brain. Or also the 100 Club in London. Um, they've had some real like iconic bands there. So I'd really like to play at the 100 Club.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I can't really make it to either of those. I mean, land of
What
Iowa
do you mean
here.
you can't book us at the Red Rock? Come
Oh,
on.
fine. I can get you to Chicago. How about that?
That'd be cool.
Sold.
That'd be
All
good.
right. Done. I can get you to Chicago. I'm 3 hours out of Chicago, but I can't do that. But
Do you know what gets me? Like, I think it's so funny. Like, but you guys in the States, you think
here
three
we
hours
go.
is nothing. You're like 3 hour drive? Sound great, no problem.
How,
Three
Us,
hours is a long.
3 hours is the other side of the
I
country.
Sorry,
drive
about where the
41
dog
minutes to school
invaded.
Oh
and
yeah, so
back.
we've had a stage invasion.
Right, puppy.
Oh, all right.
Ah,
What's his or her name?
her name
Bobby.
is Barbie.
Oh, Bobby.
Come on,
Well,
Bobby.
hello, Bobby.
Come on,
Welcome to the show.
come on, Bob. Yeah, so the Bitter Lemons always have a mascot
Yeah,
dog
currently anyway.
Okay,
currently. So this is our
obviously.
current mascot dog,
Because we
Bobby.
foster guide
Brilliant.
dogs,
Great for
basically. So we had
advertising.
Claire, didn't we? And she went about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and now we've got Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we usually always have a little doggy at our gigs.
Yeah. Well, like here in Iowa, we have like some festivals, but you would be very shocked of like who would stop by somehow. They would always go from Minneapolis and Minnesota to Chicago, and they'll stop by in Iowa or St. Louis or wherever. And so we would get like Glass Animals or who's just who sings Hot to Go. She was just here.
Oh, Chapel Roan.
Yeah, she was just here. Unfortunately, I
Nice.
was not
No,
able to
she's
see
from the
her.
Midwest though, right?
I believe so. I'm
Yeah.
not too sure exactly where she's from, but
I feel like
you'd
she's
be
from Iowa,
surprised.
I
No,
think.
no, definitely not. I'd hear a lot more about her, but
I'm gonna
maybe.
Google this one.
But anyways, moving on. What is your favorite song to perform live and why?
You go first.
So probably for me is we've got a song called Gaslighter,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's
Mm.
quite interactive sort of like it's got quite an interactive sort of chorus. It's quite a fun song for a song about something quite dark in it really,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's got quite an anthematic chorus. I think we're recording that in December.
December, just before Christmas.
Yeah, but that one goes down really well live. It's also toward the end of the set, so basically we usually built up quite a good sort of vibe by that point, haven't we?
Yeah.
So that's probably my favourite to play live, to be honest, because it's sing-alongy and sort of like it's got a bit of attitude to it, and yeah,
Yeah. I think my favorite is since that very first gig, the pre-COVID gig,
Mhm.
we've done the same cover since because we just love playing it. So we
okay,
do a cover of Heavy Trash, The Loveless.
Nice.
Um, and I love playing that because it's just really fun. We always close on it so we can just get real wild, real crazy. Things can get unplugged. We can go out in the crowd and just like end on a big note. And it's always really fun when people sing along, isn't it? 'Cause it's only like 2 words. So it's not like people can get the gist pretty quick. Um, but yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah, that's super fun. I always like those conclusion songs when you just go out with a bang and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And those are so fun when everyone gets into it as well. So what is the strangest or funniest thing that has happened to you while recording any of these songs?
recording.
Recording.
Um,
Or live? Let's throw the question at live too.
What about actually sort of during the songs, really, or if there's anything random that's gone on during the songs? There's random things that have gone on during sets and
Or during
before sets,
gigs.
but not.
Well, we can move the question over to sets if there's
Okay,
anything that
so
Yeah,
stands
because
out.
recording's always like pretty. So like our first little recording we did with a guy called Mark
Hmm.
at Megatone Studios, and he does like all the sound for like the Premier League and stuff like that.
that's his day job,
He's like
yeah.
a real slick guy. So recording with him is like a really slick process. And then the last little recording we did was completely different vibe because we did with our friend Kate,
Okay.
and they're like insanely laid back. So just everything was just really chill. Um, but like during a set, um, I mean we in April we played in Gaz's Rock and Blues Club in London,
Okay.
which is a cool venue. Um,
It's been around since 1980.
yeah,
So you got Stray
Wow.
Cats to open it, and his dad is the bluesman John Mayall.
John Mayer and the Blues Breakers.
So the
Wow.
one that Clapton got his break in. So basically, like, yeah, I think in 1980 he set up this club, and basically, like, it's just been a legendary place. He's got a stage at Glastonbury, he's got a stage at Notting Hill Carnival. He's
Just a cool guy.
just yeah. But so we didn't know what to expect because it's basically like it's underneath. It's the St. Moritz. It's called. So it's like a
It's a
Swiss.
Swiss restaurant.
So just reeks of Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
Very strange. And it's in like this cellar underneath. And it's like sort of like weird, sort of textured sort of walls, isn't it?
It's
And it's a
like
proper dive bar, but like it's got it's really small, really kind of weird vibe, but it's like a student night there.
I remember we turned up though and we couldn't even find the door.
No, no.
It's like in a basement. Just a bit like,
And then like the guy that owns it, he's called Sweetie, and he was there like flicking through his soap operas. He's like, "Are you going to be
going to
loud?" We're
be
like,
loud.
no, no, we're just
Stop
checking.
there. No.
He did definitely gave off like ex-gangster vibes. No, maybe he's not, but
Maybe it's
like,
not, but that was the
but
vibe.
he's very cool. But like, and then Gaz himself, quite a charismatic gentleman. But before we played, you got talking
Oh
to.
yeah, I was out in the smoking area because I have
Mhm.
real healthy pre-singing habits, you know.
Of course.
I will look after my throat,
Of
voice.
course.
Um, and like this like blacked out car pulled up
Because
and
it's middle of Soho it
it's the
is.
middle of Soho, so like central London.
Hmm.
Um, a flipping Adam Sandler got out of the car. I was like, oh, this is
Of
weird. Like, what
course.
the
Of
hell?
course. Of course.
And
Most Adam Sandler thing possible.
just a casual Adam
Of
Sandler.
course. Of course. You don't see him every day?
No, no, that wasn't who I was expecting to see. I was maybe expected to see some like school friends.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. And then Stella McCartney turned up.
You got chatting with Adam Sandler,
I
didn't
did.
you?
I had a real casual chat with him. It was odd.
So you guys
That's
performing together?
Adam
I wasn't
Sandler.
there, by the way. At this point, I was like, not Adam Sandler.
You went, no, no,
Doesn't
it's
look like Adam
not.
Sandler. She's
That's
like, he's come
No.
with a whole entourage, Rich, and everybody, he's like, no, it doesn't look like him. Just like maybe people in the flesh don't look. But either way, at the time, we were sort of, me and the guitarist were sort of no selling it because we were like
trying to
trying to get in the
be.
zone to play a gig, innit?
Yeah, of
So he's
course. You
like,
gotta lock
well, if
in.
he wants a photo with us, then you can have a, you know, you
Yeah,
can
with
big
us.
league.
Yeah.
It's just like,
You tried to big league Adam Sandler,
yeah.
Of
basically.
course, of course.
Yeah,
Was he wearing like
mate.
a
Let's
regular
get into the
t-shirt
zone, mate.
too? I guarantee you was. Like, because he like the joke is that he's always wearing like the most casual clothes
He was wearing
possible.
like grey sweats, right?
I don't know.
Grey
I can't really.
sweats.
He was in the dark, and I didn't really go up to him.
Yeah, like classic, like incognito,
Yeah.
like
But I think,
outfit.
unfortunately, he went before we started playing
Yeah.
because he got
Mhm.
swamped.
Stella McCartney,
Oh, of
however,
course,
was
yeah.
there. She was there.
Because our drummer is a Scouser, and basically they spoke.
Scouser is from Liverpool, if
Yeah,
you've not heard
yeah, yeah.
that phrase before.
Okay.
So Stella, 'cause obviously Paul's from Liverpool.
Beatles
I
from
wouldn't have
Liverpool.
Yeah.
expected Stella to still have a Liverpool accent, being Paul obviously probably lived in London for a lot of her childhood.
Hmm.
But
But
anyway,
she does.
she does. They were having a house off of
Yeah.
going both of them back and forth apparently, and she did see some of our gig. So
Yeah. It's just like, just when just like just people turn up in like the most unexpected places and you're like, is this real? I'm not sure this is real.
we did get
Yeah.
invited out afterwards because they were going partying all around Soho, Gaz, I'm
Hmm.
sure, with many of his friends and
Friends.
but we were like, we gotta get the gear back, haven't we?
Yeah. So rock and roll
Had to get
having
the
to,
gear back to Abbey Road.
yeah.
Genuinely.
It's like
Yeah.
we need to get all our stuff in an Uber
To our
to
Airbnb.
our Airbnb. Like how rock and roll.
Yeah.
No one tells you about that bit.
No.
No, for
No.
sure. Yeah, I've never had anything personal like that before. I mean, I've had like close calls, but rather I haven't had it in the music world. I've had it in the baseball world here in the States. For some oddball reason, The only baseball player in all of MLB was Max, well, from Berlin, Germany, was Max Kepler. Somehow ended up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Have no idea how that happened for 2 years, and then went on to be like one of the best baseball players for the Minnesota Twins.
As if.
Yeah, and stuff like that happens all the time. I mean, it's just like sometimes it's artists, sometimes it's baseball players, sometimes it's Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Just shows up out of nowhere.
That was one random thing. The other random thing was we were playing in Leeds, weren't we? And
Yeah. I don't know where this is going.
we played in Leeds.
Oh God, are you going
Yeah,
to tell the story?
yeah,
The harrowing one?
Yeah,
yeah.
go.
Oh.
Basically, playing in Leeds, played the first half. It was on a England football or soccer European
Okay.
quarter-final day. We just won the quarter-finals. So
Yeah,
in Leeds, we
big
sort
deal.
of hitched up into a pub, watched it before we went and loaded in to play this gig.
And obviously everyone is like
Very
there,
Yeah,
high.
a huge deal,
staring.
Everybody,
huge deal.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's
That was
very
the
drunk.
Euros, right?
Everybody's, pardon?
That was the Euros.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
we
big.
win
Yeah,
penalty shootouts very often. So
no,
Football very
no, no, and
yeah.
and so it was to prove in the end, wasn't it? But either way, basically we'd so we'd been out having a drink beforehand. It's a little bit of sort of Aggie vibes as well because obviously people when they win the football for some reason they get a little bit like
aggressive.
yeah. But we played this gig anyway. So we played the first half. We'd done two 45-minute sets basically in this place called Northern Guitar in Leeds, which is on like a strip of bars. So halfway through, we've gone out of the bar to sort of cool down.
It's really warm in there.
Um, I'm trying to sober up my guitarist a little bit because I'm like, I know we've been drinking all day, but we've got another half of playing
I know
here.
we
Yeah, we
will
gotta
want to
keep
go and say
going.
We get some
shootout, but
food.
you got
No, no,
to keep busy.
I'm all right. I don't need any food. Anyway, so I looked to my right, and there's some guy.
Of course.
I don't know. Maybe he was arguing with the bouncer in the other bar, but I just watched him do this onto the back of his head, like literally, like almost like
Again?
almost that his friends I think said that he got pushed. I don't see it, didn't see that. I just saw him go
Like a domino,
like
just
a
like
domino, just and it hurt crack, horrible, and literally blood everywhere. Now Beck,
Jeez
is the
Louise.
Beck is a
doctor.
doctor, so Beck went over and literally administered like
He literally had to hold this guy alive.
and put like stuff and I don't know exactly what they did, but they stemmed the bleeding basically.
They did, but it's a good job they were there because I
Yeah,
think,
thank
I would have died, I
God.
think, because literally the
What
people
is
that were
yeah,
around.
it's his head.
Yeah,
He
yeah, yeah.
didn't
He's
need
yeah.
bleeding out.
that.
So,
And then he literally just
Jesus.
like was like, okay, the ambulance here. Should we go play our second half?
so blood still on
Oh
him.
my. Oh, of course.
I swear. Am I allowed to swear?
What was that?
Am I
Sorry.
allowed to swear? Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, what the fuck is going on?
What
But that
the
sobered up the
hell?
guitarist pretty quick
Sobered us
anyway to
all right up.
watch that happen. So we got on with the second half set, our set with
So like by the time we'd finished the second half, the whole street was cordoned off like a crime
yeah,
scene.
it was yeah.
I was like,
But the bar was still busy, so
yeah, because you couldn't leave
couldn't
because
Yeah.
it
leave.
was,
Captive audience.
yeah, you couldn't leave the bar because it was a crime scene.
So, but yeah, that's probably the most random thing that's probably ever happened to me in a gig, to be honest. It's just like your
Yeah.
drummer goes and saves somebody's life. You think
Fair play.
Mhm.
by
Casual.
the time he left to go into the ambulance, they said he was stable. So I think like hopefully he pulled through. But yeah, mad.
I forgot
It's
about
man.
that.
I gotta go to one of these concerts. Like, gosh, I gotta go over to London, I guess.
Hopefully we'll just have a lovely time.
Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
One ends up in
Yeah.
hospital.
we'll meet Adam
Of
Sandler.
We'll
course.
be Adam
Yeah.
Sandler.
Yeah, we'll meet Adam
And
Sandler
I
or
won't
go to
be
the
vegan.
Euros. It'll be a big deal. Everyone will have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. What is so this is a good question. What is the hardest part of playing, live versus like the studio or something like that? Do you have any hard parts for playing live?
Yeah. Just rolling with the punches with any mistakes that I make, because obviously everybody makes mistakes at gigs.
Yeah.
So that's just that is by the by, isn't it? We are not robots.
Mm,
Nice.
yeah.
It's just rolling with those punches, rolling with technical issues, rolling with all those things. But like I say, I've been doing it for 20 years now, so
Hmm.
yeah, it's hard, and you have to sort of sort of, get on with it and stuff. But it's now part of the course. But yeah, that's probably the hardest thing about playing live. I love playing live though. It is my favorite thing to do to sort of entertain an audience.
Yeah,
There is nothing quite like it. So
yeah,
Yeah. I think my hardest thing about playing live is, like if you've had a real shitty day,
yeah.
and then like, because like we've all got like day jobs, we've all got a life
Mhm.
in the real world, and like you've had like a real shitty day, and you're like, right, I've now got to like switch it around. Like I'm in fun
Mhm.
mode now. Like if I have to enjoy this, otherwise, what's the point? So like doing that, like, okay, this is adulting Haley who's been at work and has like done boring things. And then like, but now this is like it's like getting that mental switch from like, right, if I've got half an hour and I need to make sure I enjoy this, because otherwise what the
Mhm.
hell is the point?
Yeah, for sure. What do you guys
Mhm.
do outside of this?
so you've actually got an interesting job.
Oh, I'm an archaeologist.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think
yeah.
so. I'm a history nerd, so I had to go into all that stuff.
Me too.
Yeah. How
So you've
about
done a
you?
few cool things in your time, haven't you? And
I
now you sort of
have.
oversee people digging up cool
Yeah, so
things.
now I work at like
Hmm.
I don't know what the equivalent is in the States.
Don't know.
So we're like I work for like the organization who are like the government's advisor
Okay.
for all things old.
Yeah. Well, we have archaeology in different like sectors. So, sometimes like when people think of archaeology here, they think of mostly dinosaurs and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
there's a lot more parts to it. Like, obviously,
You guys call it like cultural resource management, right?
I believe so. That sounds exactly right, actually.
Mhm.
But usually it's more because the United States history is not very old at all. Um, Most of it is mostly digging up Indian artifacts, Native
Mm.
American artifacts, rather than Roman ruins
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, so we'd call that more like anthropology.
Yeah, we just have to call it here because we got nothing else. There's nothing
But
else to
you
dig up.
Yeah.
you have a job.
Oh, I have a job,
You
yeah, I
have a
do. I
job.
do. I work in travel insurance. That's what I work in currently.
Okay.
I've worked in insurance like for about 10 years now. So
Uh,
I, I find it interesting, sadly. So,
And you
I
like
like
helping
helping
people,
people.
right?
That's the big thing.
You
I know
yeah.
like everybody thinks insurance is there to screw them over, but at the end of the day, if I can help somebody, I will go and help somebody. That's my thing
Hmm.
about it. Usually that puts me on a better footing with people because they know that I'm trying everything that I can. I can't miracle policies not to have certain wording, but
Hmm.
if I can help them. And travel insurance, you can really help people because obviously they might be abroad,
Like
like
stuck.
ill,
Yeah.
stuck, or like maybe a relative's passed away and they couldn't go on a holiday and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So to give them money
Hmm.
back when they're in that situation, yeah.
And then yeah, so we said Beck is a doctor. So he's a pathologist, right? Yeah.
Yeah. What's with
Pathologist.
dead people?
Works sees
Yeah.
dead people.
Puts up dead people.
Um and then
Genuinely. Yeah.
Dave works at a bank.
Yeah.
They-
Dave is a collections manager of some
Yeah.
sort in a bank.
He's a bad guy.
I'm joking.
Yeah. For me personally, I actually have a very odd job I never thought I would have, and that is a valet.
Nice.
Yeah,
Ah,
I drove every car you can imagine. Like
Nice.
the fanciest to like a 1976 Ford Falcon.
so are you like a real car guy?
Um, I used to
Or no?
not be, and
But
now
now
I
you
kind
are.
of am. Yeah, yeah, I was kind of forced to be, but
Yeah.
stuff like that. So,
That's cool.
yeah, it is pretty neat, pretty cool. So, I gotta keep track of my stuff. Um,
Segway.
yeah,
Sidebar about cars.
yeah. Uh, do you have any future projects in general you're working on this at this time, or and can you share them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
question is
we just
reserved
recorded
for, yeah.
a new EP,
A 5-track EP,
which we are releasing with El Dandy Records in Spain, and we are playing a music festival in Spain for said record
El
label
Dandy
Sounds
Records.
in
fun.
November, and that's our first abroad gig. That's my first ever abroad gig. So
Our first trip overseas.
That actually is super fun.
Yeah, so El Dandy Records, based out of Malaga in Spain. Um, they will be releasing our forthcoming five-track EP, which is called the EP is called Heartbreak Shake.
the heartache
Heartache
shake.
Shake. Heartache Shake.
Is that how I named it, aren't
Yeah.
you? I know.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's will be released in probably around November.
Yeah, November time, yeah.
November time.
In time for the festival, basically,
Yeah,
yeah.
like in tandem with the festival.
Mm.
Um, so that will be available to buy in physical format from us and from El Dandy, and also for streaming.
Hmm.
And then we're back in the studio in December,
Yeah,
which will be recording another four tracks with Stourbridge Studios. So Stourbridge is like
down the road
the
from us,
next
yeah.
big town along from us.
Yeah.
Um, it's only a tiny little studio, but the guy that runs it has produced some really great rockabilly
And
and
psychobilly.
psychobilly records.
Mm.
So we're really excited to record with him. And then
We're just getting our gigs booked up for next year.
yeah, so we're currently
Mm.
booking a little
Wow.
South Coast tour for next year. So even though we live in Birmingham, well, we live in Dudley, which is just to the north of Birmingham. Um, I'm actually from the South Coast. Um, so we're booking a little South Coast tour for next year. So we've got London, which isn't on the coast, but it is south. Um, Clapham, which is heading south, and then we're going to scoot along the South Coast.
To hopefully Brighton.
Yeah, my hometown.
Mm.
Um,
We just haven't got that booked in yet, but we will
no,
do.
but we will.
But yeah, we're in the London gigs back at Gaz's. So
Yeah,
the bar that we told you about with Adam Sandler and yeah.
yeah,
Whether that's a nightly occurrence, I don't know. But
Yeah, hopefully not.
yeah.
Or may-
But we've got some like in the meantime, we've got some really cool gigs coming up.
yeah,
yeah,
Um, we're playing with do you know the Suffragettes?
I have not, but
they're
I'll
from
go look them
Canada.
Dude,
up.
you've got to listen to them. They're so good.
They're
What
basically
is it,
like
Sapperjacks?
The Suffragettes, but
Surfer
like
Jacks.
suffragettes,
but
like
like surf music.
but suffragettes.
I
Um,
And it's an all-girl band
all girl, Dick Dale instrumental surf band, and they're amazing. So we're playing with them at the end of this month
on their UK tour, isn't it?
on their UK tour,
Yeah.
correct? And then we're back in London for Halloween, at a place called Werewolf Brewery.
Werewolf Brewing Company, isn't that?
Werewolf Brew.
So their whole gimmick is like American Werewolf in London.
Yeah,
Oh
Um,
yeah, great
so
song.
that's that's all their sort of beer concepts. So yeah, I've
yeah.
played in Camden before.
So that'll be good.
Fun.
And then we've got yeah, we're off to Spain in November, and then we've got a real cool little festival at the end of the year as well, which we're really looking forward to. With some really cool bands, like a band that we love called Los Dados, who are a surf instrumental band, but like crunchy. So they're really cool. A band called the Del Roswells, who are like horror psychobilly.
Okay.
They're really cool. Um, and some yeah, there's loads of really cool
Yeah,
bands. I'm looking forward to that.
that sounds super fun. I mean, gosh. Well, if I ever somehow get over to England or UK or Spain, in that case, I'll go see you.
Wicked.
Just come to Europe. I know we're not
Yeah,
in Europe anymore,
yeah.
but we are, right? So come
I
to
was there
Europe. Come
six
and dig
months ago. I
around.
was in France. I was in Paris and Lyon. We were doing I'm behind the scenes, I'm a financial advisor and I do finance and all that business stuff. And we had got the great opportunity to work with the Olympic Committee for the Olympics
Oh
and
wow.
do
Cool.
some budgeting with them and compare and contrast our numbers with theirs. And we got pretty close. We were almost on the dime. I think we were off like by, I think it was 1,200 we were off by because of, I think it was like they had to like last minute do some like I don't know taxes or something. They forgot a zero or something. I don't know.
Oh, damn.
But no, that was super fun. I love Europe. I would love to go back and see all the places, not just France, but UK, Spain, Germany, Austria,
Denmark.
Italy, all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd like to get over to Germany next year, wouldn't we?
Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be
And
Yeah.
fun.
Belgium. To be honest, we'd
Yeah.
like to get over to the States, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how budgeting goes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super expensive. That is the biggest thing is just getting here. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
for me too. I mean, gosh, well, well, the pound's a little bit more expensive. It's $1.20 per pound. Um, but like an average flight, if I were to go over there, I think it's if I wanted to go right now, I think it's 1,200 just there. And then back it's same deal. It's basically 3 grand just for traveling.
I think when we went to New York the first time, I think we got like I know it's like New York, so therefore it's the
Hmm.
furthest side to us, but it was about
Yeah.
300 quid we got flights for.
£300.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
could
that's
find some good
great.
deals if you get really lucky, but like for me, like getting here to New York is basically 500 pound
Yeah,
500
bet it
Yeah.
is.
pounds. Yeah, just because I'm almost literally halfway across the world. The complete opposite. I could like me being American. I mean like 19-hour drive to New York, no big deal. Whatever.
Right.
Yeah, no big deal. Of course I
I
could
got
get there
grumpy
by
about
that
doing an
weekend.
hour's drive yesterday.
You did, yeah.
1 hour.
I do that
Grumpy.
every day. I
Shocking.
I I drive 41 minutes just to get to university and then back.
No.
I burn
No.
through gas like it's my job.
Honey, no.
Don't
So that takes
worry,
me
I have a
an hour to get to
Prius.
work. But that's because I go on the bus.
Bus.
I go on the bus,
Yeah,
but it's an hour and a half to get there.
gosh. Well, my mom works for a train company, and I was arguing about this, especially with in France, they're very, very environmental, very environmental.
Mm.
And they were asking me, they were like, why don't you just have trains everywhere, like, in the 1800s and stuff like that? And I'm like, well, believe it or not, we tried. So there is a railroad we tried to get, I think it was from St. Louis to Chicago. It was going to be a high-speed rail, all electric, perfect. But this was in the year 2000, and the GPS was terrible. And it was just this, it was perfect. It was perfect. And then the second it got into Chicago, it was like, okay, we lost the entire train. We have no idea where it is. So there it's to this day, because America is wonderful with transportation. They're still trying to get that, but hopefully in the future we have some easier ways to get around without driving 41 minutes everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a
But
big train planned here that was going to make life a
Yeah,
lot
we'll
simpler.
we'll not mention that train.
It caused a lot of controversy, but he did work for him.
I did work for them.
He did.
So
Yeah.
Now we don't have that train,
big
so now
tricky
everything
train.
takes it forever. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just America's just the mainland America is just huge. It is literally the size of Europe.
Is that why? Because
Yep.
like they're so rare. Is that why
No,
like people are so obsessed with like trains?
so from
They are
yeah,
known. So I love them.
yeah. So like from I think it was, do you know like the distance from Pittsburgh, do you know where Pittsburgh is?
We do.
We
We've
Yeah.
went there.
actually been
We
there
went
to watch some
there.
wrestling. Yeah,
So
Been there.
Pittsburgh to New York, that distance right there,
yeah.
that is the same distance from Berlin to Moscow.
Stop it.
Wow.
That is not that's the fraction. 3 states covers all of Italy.
It's just wild, isn't
Because
it?
we
It's
got the
huge.
plane, didn't we, when we went to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, we flew
We
to
flew from New
Pittsburgh.
York
Yep.
to Pittsburgh.
I would have
Sidebar.
drive. I would have drive.
No.
I would have had no problem to drive. I
No.
drove from here to Pittsburgh. It took me 16 hours. I had no problem.
That's the thing, because we watch a lot of professional
Oh,
wrestling.
we love wrestling.
But that's what all the
Yeah.
wrestlers say.
Oh,
They're just like we get
no
on in
big
a
problem.
car for 16 hours. It's
Gosh,
fine.
I would
We crash at
love
the
to.
hotel on the floor. It's fine.
If you guys ever do a USA tour, like if you guys like 2 or 3 years from now get a big hit and blow up and all that stuff, you guys get a USA tour and you guys get a bus and you're just going one place to the next. So it's a little bit easier. But if you guys do, you gotta let me know how that is because
Yeah.
man, it's gonna be a journey. A road trip, really,
Road trip.
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
sure.
But luckily, 3 out of 4 of us drive.
Yeah, I don't.
You don't drive.
I
Yeah.
don't drive. I'd be a menace to the road if I drove. I'm a social warrior justice, so I'd be
Yeah.
Yeah.
basically just like, yeah, you've cut that person up. No, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to ram into you
Well, you
now.
guys got pretty good transportation, at least better than here. I mean,
Yeah,
it's somewhat solid. I mean, when I was, again in France, like our tour guide Irene was 37. She never drove her entire life because the trains were just perfect and everything was just on time and nothing failed.
Yeah, I mean, our trains aren't great, but we have
Yeah.
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
The
I'm also
only
sorry if there's
place.
been a droning
Oh,
noise.
yeah, the dog is
The,
currently snoring.
the best way to
Oh,
subdue
no
yourself is put her
worries.
on my lap and let her
Actually, I'm
sleep.
not catching it at all.
Good, because she
Yeah.
is snoring.
So yeah.
Um, are there any genres in your band, or styles you haven't explored yet but would like to do in the future?
You're quite specific about what you want though, aren't you? So I think you're like, I like this
You
sort of
really
like
are become a dictator. I mean, I am.
but but yeah, I think we would the concept and the sort of theming of the band, I think we would probably keep what mainly where we are to some degree. Can experiment out of it into different sort of sideways of maybe this EP is more garagey or this EP is more ballady or maybe in that way. But I don't think we probably go, right, we're gonna become a doom metal band tomorrow. Much probably better
Imagine, imagine.
discipline. But
I tell you what, actually, we played in Bristol, which is like a city on the like set in the southwest.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it was so funny because I had like a sandwich board outside the bar, and it said the bitter lemons,
funky, heavy thrash.
funky heavy thrash.
So I think they've read heavy trash in our bio. We're like,
I guess you're
okay.
heavy trash now. All right.
That's it. Funky heavy thrash.
Funky
And
heavy
the
I was
thrash.
just
Yeah.
like, if
thrash.
people see that, they're not going to be like, well, unless they love thrash music,
They
but then they're going
might.
to be
I
sort of
mean maybe.
disappointed at that point, aren't they? So,
I might just change my name to like Dave Mustang and
Yeah.
just become a thrash band.
Oh, that reminds me what we I was able to actually go see a concert in France, and of course I had no idea what they were saying, but the genre that they picked was electro. And I'm like,
mm.
"Oh, all right. I mean, whatever. I'm just there to have a good time." They didn't even play at all any electro. They were a rock band.
Well, they just try.
I don't know. This was on it wasn't their website. It was the Ticketmaster or whoever.
Right.
I'm like, why did they pick? It's clearly rock and roll. Why would they pick? It reminded me of your thrash, funky thrash. Yeah.
I don't think we've
So,
ever been so
yeah.
misbilled in our lives.
Mm.
Funny.
I was gonna say it's like no, you're a
And that,
rock
and
and
that
roll
gig was an hour and
band.
a half straight through as well, wasn't
Oh,
it?
yeah, we were all absolutely dripping in sweat.
Because basically the
Oh
guy
my
went, you can have
gosh.
a 45-minute sort of like, and then do like a break. But in my experience, you'll lose the audience to just go straight through.
Like everyone will go out to like the smoking terrace
Or
and
there's
like
other
Yeah,
pubs along the
get a
strip and that.
drink. Yeah,
So yeah, hour and a half. That was a long gig.
yeah,
Good, but like it's just I was just like it's hard to
yeah,
keep the audience engaged for an hour and a half, to be fair. It's
yeah.
in
Most of the yeah.
itself. But
Oh, sorry.
they were loving it by the end. By
Oh,
the
that's
end we were
good.
getting an encore, weren't we?
yeah.
So you know
That's one.
it's not always how you start or how you're middling, it's how you finish, isn't it, I guess. So,
Oh yeah, for sure. The big bang at the end.
yeah,
Yeah, in
exactly.
the States, most bands here, like the one I'm about to see on the 10th, most of them play all the way through, but a trick that they do
Mm.
is at least the one that I'm talking about, Ginger Roots. They like to like add like a little bit of comedy, like skits or like little jokes. Like they'll just like keep playing, but at the same time they'll talk to the audience. So it's
Yeah.
just a way for them to like have their own break while also keeping the engagement,
You
which I think
say
is
that
very
like
smart.
so you asked earlier like what the one of the
Oh yeah,
hardest
it's
things
very
about
true, yeah.
playing live is.
Mhm.
Talking to an
Dude,
audience.
Yeah, you
talking
got
to
to
an
go all the way
audience.
through. Yeah.
Mm. talking to an audience is a very difficult
This
thing
is really something you have to like
because
really work
I'm
on.
so
Mm.
self-conscious in terms of like I don't like saying cliches and platitudes. So they're like, "How's everybody going tonight?" It's just like, no,
Yeah.
no,
So
no.
walking out into your hometown and being like, Birmingham, like,
You just
my
cringe at
hometown.
yourself, don't you? So like, it is hard. Patter is hard. I think that like I've got my other band that I do. I literally like just don't do talking.
Yeah,
It's just like yeah, let's just go into the next song because I cannot. I can't. Especially that band as well because it's a whole. It's bizarre, but we wear werewolf masks and there's a whole
wherever.
werewolf origin story. You can see how we got that werewolf brewing company
They
thing,
have
can't you?
voice that they
Yeah.
have a voice that
We
they
have a
do.
TV DVD combo with the origin story as an intro, and
Oh my
basically we come to the
gosh.
back in these.
It's
Anyway,
that whole thing.
whole thing. So if I'm going to talk to an audience, I've got to talk to them in
Do the
character.
voice.
I'm not doing
Yeah, you're gonna
that.
talk to the character. You gotta
But,
set the mood.
but you get what I mean, like so. Therefore,
Yeah.
you like okay, well, because like somebody asked me the once, like when we first started it, they went, "Can you say because he got like a records fair
That was
going on?"
funny.
And went, can you say that? Can you advertise our record fair whilst you're on stage? I was like, I was doing it in the voice, wasn't I? So it's just like records over there, just like, oh, brilliant! Like, sound like such a dickhead. Wonderful. You're in the moment of just being
That was
like,
funny.
yeah, yeah. Just like move on to the next song. Great.
Moving on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We went and saw, do you know the band Lord Huron?
Uh, no.
They are from your way for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like a spaghetti western sort of like shoegazy almost to a degree, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like
Are they more bluegrassy or anything like that, or more
no.
country? No.
Um
Quite, I think people,
it's
some people would say it was indie, wouldn't they, to some degree? But
yeah,
it's
Indie?
got
Okay,
hard to
okay, yeah,
really hard to they're quite sort of like um cinematic.
yeah.
okay.
They were in what you call it, that 13 Reasons Why they
Oh
were like a
yeah.
big song
No.
A lot of
in that.
people know they're like one of their songs.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went and saw them recently. Um and he just did like about like 15 minutes of like patter at the start, like right at the start.
Yep. Yep.
And
That's
then he was
exactly
like,
what
and
happens.
I'm
Hmm.
not going to say anything else for the rest of this set. Okay? Have a great time, guys.
At least it let you know.
And
Gave
he
you
was
a
just, it was
warning.
just like, great.
They structured it really well because they got like a telephone box.
Oh, it was so cool.
So basically, like it was
That's
like
cool.
it was sort of ringing in the middle with all like spotlight on it. And therefore, like you pick up the phone and sing through the phone. It was like
It was like the
Oh,
whole
that's
set
very
had
super
cool.
like a
cool.
cinematic
That's a great
melody.
Yeah,
idea.
Yeah, it was really
but
cool.
he was just so casual as well because like somebody like passed out at the front. So obviously that's not great. Right,
The thing that happened.
so like people having to pass water. And he went. He stopped the set. He saw what happened. He went, "Hey
Hmm.
guys, just stop. Just like there's a
Yeah.
Like,
guy over
just
there.
chill.
Just chill. We're just gonna get
Yeah.
him sorted out."
Yeah.
And then basically, like once the guy had gone, they were throwing out water for people. He went,
Hmm.
"Right, the rest of the set's for this guy now." And it's just so. I was just like, "How can you be so
Yeah.
chill?"
Well,
Like just in terms of
Yeah.
just like
talking to like, what, how big do you think the Civic is? 5,000?
Yeah.
about 2,000 probably. Like that.
2,000
2000.
venue, 2,000 capacity venue. Like,
Wow.
so chill,
And it's
So
just
chill.
like
so
so
casual.
casual.
That, that's awesome.
Like, and I'm like, hi,
What did they tell him?
how are
You're not that
you?
bad, but he's like,
I'm
he's,
good.
You're not that bad.
I hope you're good.
I've seen the recordings. You're not
Okay.
that bad.
Music. Yeah.
Music. Yeah. Back here in the States, we had a couple years ago a problem. You probably heard of it. It was the Scott concert where
Oh, yeah, that was
unfortunately
bad.
that bad thing happened. My sister was actually in college at the time, and she actually does she got a degree in project management, and she like so her job is booking the gigs, setting up the venues and all that stuff. She could do that. But one of the things, it became such a big deal in the States, like every band, every even politic person or whoever, if something went wrong or someone needed something, they would immediately stop. They would immediately, they started handing out after that. I think for the next 3 years, almost every concert I went to, and I went to a lot, they would hand out free water just to
yeah.
everyone. Just from there on out. They weren't taking
It's not
any
hard.
chances.
It's not hard, no.
No. And so still to this day, you could see it. If you ever came to the States and went to a concert, you could definitely tell that they learned from something like that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where he sort of got that from, I guess, maybe. Just like
Yeah, I
yeah.
he you said he was from the States, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
can't remember where the
100%.
guy's from.
I bet money that's exactly what happened.
Oh, hold on. Pop quiz. They're called Lord Huron.
Yeah.
Where is Lake Huron?
Or like
Where are they
around,
from?
Yeah, they're from near. So
Or
their band's called Lord Huron, and they're named after Lake Huron.
or like Haran. I can't remember how you pronounce
okay, so if it's a lake, it's gotta be a good guess would have to be either Minnesota area or there's not a Great Lake, but I guess because Minnesota has 10,000 lakes, so my best educated guess
it.
would
May well
be
be, yeah.
I'm gonna
Minnesota.
Google quickly. I should know. They're like my favorite
Yeah.
band. But
Well,
that's exaggeration. They're one of my
I could Google it too.
favorites. Oh,
It's probably
Reishi.
not.
Oh, Reishi.
Oh gosh, I spelled it
Oh,
wrong.
you're gonna win.
But yeah, we've been waiting for that gig for about 4 years because they just didn't tour for a very long time, and then I think they still had to cancel gigs post COVID as well, like because of concerns again or whatever. So
Where are they from?
Oh, I probably
Bollocks, they from LA. No, they're not.
yeah.
is there?
They
I
might
believe
live
it.
there.
They, I mean, everyone, gosh, like a lot of them are from LA. Like, my favorite band I work with, even a little bit of Ginger, they're from LA. A lot of people are from LA, but you'll find once in a while, um, just a
Face.
band out of nowhere. I don't
You
know.
just search basically
It
him
could be.
because
I find this problematic.
he's the one that named the band,
Could
really.
have named
Right,
it
yeah, you
after
are
something
right. Ben
else.
Schneider. Where is
Yeah,
Ben Schneider from? This is riveting.
yeah.
Schneider. He's from Michigan. There
Michigan.
we go.
Yeah, there we
There we
go.
Yes, you got it
go.
right
Yeah,
first
because that
time.
Oh,
totally makes
moving on.
sense. No,
Moving on,
it
right?
has to be that like Rust Belt area where all the Great Lakes are because like that totally makes sense for
Yeah,
sure.
that would make sense. Have you realised something we haven't talked about? Swingamajig.
Oh, what do you want to tell?
Because
What do you want
we
to...
played, because you like electro swing, didn't you? Am I
Oh,
right?
yeah, of course.
So we played an electro swing festival, didn't we?
Yeah.
Obviously, we are not an electro swing, but you have
No, but
always
they
loved
they
electro
bill
swing.
it as like vintage sounds,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So that
Yeah.
was in Digbeth. They're called Electric Swing Circus. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Here's the Electro Swing Circus.
That's their
They
festival
run this festival
in Birmingham.
called Swingamajig,
Oh my gosh. Now I
and
gotta
it
go to
was great.
Birmingham. Now I
It's the
have to get
last
over
one.
there.
They're never doing it again.
That was the last
It's
one.
the last one
Yeah.
Why? Gosh,
because, like, this is deep, isn't it?
ran out of money?
No, basically, like a lot of like promoters, when you find a promoter
Mm,
who's like a genuine nice person, they're not fleecing bands,
mm.
they're not, and they try and be fair,
And therefore they make a loss.
they end up losing money. And it's
Yeah,
like,
that's probably right.
Um,
I think he had it probably about 5 years ago. It's probably at its peak, and obviously you had the sort of like Peaky Blinders element as well, which sort of got press and sort of so it's in that
turkey
sort of yeah.
side.
Because you first heard Electric Swing Circus when they played events when you were
No, it was at university,
when you
yeah,
know. So what was that like about?
2010.
Yeah, so that sort of
yeah.
time. So you've always wanted to do that festival, haven't you? So and we
Yeah.
did.
That would have been so much fun. That would have
Yeah,
been so
like
much
this
fun.
time last year, right? So
Hmm
we call it, so we mentioned earlier that we like wrestling. And there's a
hmm
wrestler called Cody Rhodes, and he had like a list of like
Mhm.
people he wanted to
When he left the
perform.
company that he was in now, WWE, he basically went, right, these are the things that I want to do. It's a bucket list.
So I made my own Cody list. I made a Cody list, and Swing Majig was on there.
Oh yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
it's a bucket list. You don't tick everything off your bucket list, right?
But you
Mm,
pretty
But
much got
pretty
them.
much have. And a few other bits, but there was definitely Les Green. What are you saying?
yeah.
But singing music was cool though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It
it's
was
really
back
cool.
to the performers and everything else.
Yeah, because they had like, so it was bands, DJs, and then they had like cabaret performers. So
People
like
swallowing
people
swords.
doing like
It's fun.
sword swallowing, like the most
Some
sensational burlesque dancers I've ever seen.
somebody in a literal like glass, like like the sort of the martini glass, the sort of woman in the
Yeah.
martini glass. Somebody did a burlesque with doing that, and
Mm.
I
Yeah.
tell you.
What else? They had like people doing like aerial silks and aerial hoops. Um, it was amazing. It was great.
Yeah. Well, like
Shout
I'm
out to
always
it.
trying to get like gosh, I don't know if he's ever here, but Jamie Berry, Wolfgang Loor, or there's a famous band actually somewhat pretty new called Swing It, and they're from the UK actually. So I think they're based out of London actually, but they're
Maybe.
pretty new. But of course, you got I did my first ever interview was with Hugh Payon, which is the violinist for Caravan Palace. Very big. Well, I don't know if they're super popular in Paris. I try to ask people if they were, but
Depends on who
apparently
you asked,
not.
doesn't it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
You can find
But
their super fan.
Yeah.
they're mostly popular here in the States, believe it or
Oh,
not.
wow.
Yeah, but still working on it. Well, moving back to the band. So my last question I have for you guys today is what does the future of the Bitter Lemons look like?
So I think we want to play no because we this year was about playing out of town because we hadn't actually
Mm.
done that as a band the previous year. So it was all about getting gigs all over the country, which we've done. We've only missed out a few places like Scotland
Yeah,
and
look at Scotland.
It's
yeah,
weird.
and that's a long old way too.
Not for you.
You'd be like that's nothing, but like
Like
it's like
that's
8 hours, 8 hour drive maybe
That's
Glasgow.
nothing. That's like
Um,
going to Ohio. It's like going to-
but yeah, so like I think the next year we'd like to do sort of like more festivals. I think we've
yeah,
done a fair few
Mhm.
this year, but like some sort of large festivals and some more abroad gigs. I think.
yeah. I
Um,
think we'd like to get over into mainland Europe again.
yeah,
Yeah,
and if it was
that'd be
possible to
fun.
go to New York and do some gigs, that would be good.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think.
Yeah.
while we're there, we might as well just, do the casual 12-hour drive.
How long is it to Chicago then from New York in terms of a
Oh,
car
from New
journey?
York?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably 16 hours.
that's disgusting.
Probably.
That's
Most
just,
likely. Very likely.
But you're like, that's not that bad.
No, I mean that's basically if I wanted to go to Phil. Like I remember because us Iowans we're more north. We're basically Chicago area, and we would drive. We'd always flock during the winter time, basically from up north all the way to the south in Florida. And so basically most of us would normally fly, which would make sense. It's a 2 hour, I think
Yeah.
it's just a 2 hour flight.
Oh,
I
really?
mean, yeah, not too bad. But us being us, we would just be like, oh, 17-hour drive, no big deal. Just we need a car anyways. We don't want to rent one. We could just drive anyways.
but yeah. So plans,
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
back over to Europe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be super cool. That would be fun.
Hopefully, maybe if it all works out, get over to the States.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, some of the other
fun.
like UK cities that we haven't been to, like Scotland, Northern
Yeah.
Ireland.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we've
Uh,
not been out of England yet
Yeah.
until next month.
And it'd be nice if some of the songs sort of like, do well in terms of like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, hopefully that new EP does very well.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Do you actually I should add another question. Do you have any music videos for the EP or is it just the music?
Not just yet for this one coming, but we
Okay.
have got music videos for the previously ones. So
Yeah.
we
Hmm.
try to be quite creative with what we do. So I think the first one we had a giant lemon head with
Yeah, that was my favorite.
yeah,
The sec second
It was
one.
a burlesque video,
Yeah,
wasn't it, with balloon popping.
our friend Violet Vixen basically dressed as a big balloon lemon and did the sexiest lemon striptease.
To a
Like,
country song.
yeah. How does a girl make a lemon sexy? Well, she managed.
And then we did like a puppet video for like Vi and Clive, which is
Yeah,
based on your nan.
It is.
That song.
I
Your
think that's
nan
my
was
favorite one
eight.
so
How
far.
old was she? 79 when she
Something
took
like
took
that.
her 30-something-year-old husband, who then she mysteriously died the day after she got married.
But
Yep.
yeah. We like to do quite silly videos, don't we?
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
never apart from like when we did a session for Bop Flicks,
Okay.
um, which is they're like YouTube live sessions channel.
He goes all over the
He
world.
goes all over the
He goes to
world.
America and everything else, doesn't
Yeah, he's
he?
always in the
And
US.
it's not just rock and roll, but that's his predominant thing, isn't
Yeah,
it? 50s rock and roll and like a bit of like
but
garagey sort of
but
stuff.
like apart from things like butt flicks, all of our videos are just very silly.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Very,
We like getting creative, don't we?
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that thing. So
You
we
Well,
know,
that
when
makes it
you what you
unique.
spend your weekend doing, you're like,
Yeah.
well, I made a giant lemon head that I then stuck a
What you do this
firework in the
weekend?
top of.
yeah.
I did a puppet show,
Yeah, we
reenacting
we
You
my
know, the
grandma getting
usual.
jiggy.
yeah.
Like, what did you
Yeah.
do? I made
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. I do
Yeah.
like creating videos. Again, it's nice having like a concept in your head and just seeing something. They're crude. They're very B-movie sort of things.
Yeah,
I
but they're
haven't got a
unique.
big budget, so
I think they're pretty unique. I think they're actually pretty well put together for sure.
thanks.
Yeah.
cheers, man.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, especially the Bonnie and Clyde. I think that's like it's not my favorite music video. Favorite music video would be the Lemonhead. And
Yeah.
then I think that's the most unique. But I love that guitar solo in the Bonnie and Clyde one. I think that's
Mm.
a pretty well put together
So we'll
song.
give our previous guitarist his props for
It's
those.
cred, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
Billy, isn't it?
lovely Billy. Yeah,
Yeah.
give him his cred for those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's all I have.
Great. I feel like we've like been very like off topic.
Yeah, I do apologize if we
Oh,
haven't got a
100%. No,
transcript.
no, no. This is great. I mean, I just love talking to artists and musicians and just whoever wants to join the show and just kind of just talk. I mean, this is kind of how I got my start, to be honest. I would go in these communities through Discord or Instagram or whatever, and I would find all these great people and I would have these long, long conversations just like this, but I would never record them. And I'm like a big history nerd and love making documentaries and stuff like that. And so I'm just like, why aren't I doing interviews for something I'm already doing?
Yeah, true.
So I just hit the record button and here we are.
I have a question for you, actually. How did you
Yeah.
find us?
Yeah.
Um, you found me. You are the first band to
Oh,
find. So, okay, you I don't know how, but one random day I was actually getting worried because after my first three or so interviews, I'm like, okay, I gotta do an interview with a fan or interview with someone else because I don't know who to do next. I don't really have
Yeah,
anyone on my list. And then all of a sudden, I see on my Instagram and I see your names like Bitter Lemon started following you. I'm like, oh, maybe bands are seeing what I'm doing and like maybe want to join the show. And I'm just like, hey, you want to
maybe.
join?
I think what it might be is maybe you like something that was like Electro Swing Circus related or something like that, and maybe I was like,
Maybe.
you like the festival?
Yeah,
I'll
Yeah.
drop you a follow.
we try and do
Yeah.
that. We like because like what's like yeah like Instagram you can use that to just like massage your ego, right? Or you can actually use it to like build a community and like actually like
Yeah.
reach out to people like, oh
Yeah,
hey,
for
do you
sure.
like this? So let's
Hmm.
chat. Like buzz me up.
Yeah. You
Let's
just
support
send
each
a
other.
quick DM, and that's like one of the things I always do is like I've sent out a million invitations to all these different bands, and usually it's the smaller ones that I get, but the thing is like you never know. you never know until you ask. And then all of a sudden, you're getting an interview with Caravan Palace. You're getting an interview with Jamie Bear. I don't know. Like you could, like, if you just simply ask, you
What's the
never
worst that
know.
can happen?
Yeah, yeah, they
Yeah.
just ignore you. And you never get an answer back,
Yeah,
which
like
has happened.
our friend Callum, he has a podcast
Mm,
Yeah.
called Crashing In
yeah.
Podcast. And like he does exactly the same. Like he does little interviews and like
Hmm.
installs and stuff like that with smaller bands.
Mm,
And then I swear he had a really
Basically
big
what I
band
do.
at one
yeah.
point. Who did he have?
No, no. I think I like your presented. Like, he's a good lad, but like, and I love Callum, but like he's yeah, he's not as
He
thick
has
as
the
you.
thickest accent you've ever heard.
Yeah, because he's from
Oh,
Dublin, so well,
yeah.
Really.
Wolverhampton. So he's I don't know
Hmm.
where from Birmingham, but like he's oh champion.
Really,
It's all
really
like
thick accent.
yeah. Um,
But he did say like so with smaller bands, and then he's like occasionally got
yeah.
like a really great band. It's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, I've joked about a couple interviews ago, like that technically this is an interview, but at the same time it's not. It's more of a podcast. Like you can just completely go off script. I don't care.
There was
Yeah.
script very well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just throw up some questions and I'm just like, okay, maybe we just get the ball rolling and keep it going.
Yeah,
But yeah.
it's wicked.
So,
I've got a couple of suggestions, but you don't have to take these up. But in terms of
oh,
creative people in
please, please.
Birmingham,
Oh.
there's a guy called Brian Lightning
Oh,
Okay.
so if you've seen the Lemonhead video,
Yeah.
if you've seen the very impressive high kicks
and the
and
impressive
the
dancing.
very impressive
The guy in the
dancing,
yellow suit. That's
that's
Yeah.
that's it.
that's your boy Brian Lightning.
But
Brian
he
Lighton.
shows he's got quite a unique sort of style to what he does because it's almost like there's sort of like music hall in there. There's sort of like he plays an
Slight,
organ basically, but he also does
Oh,
magic during the set because he's a
yes,
magician.
it's
interesting.
magic.
And it's all like a sort of like a character Brian Lightning is, and then he's got another character called Frankie Gaslight, is
Gas
it?
pipe.
Gaspipe, he's done quite a thick American accent for that character, and it's almost like a bit more like garagey rock, but in the middle of the set.
Yeah,
And like I say, he's there doing like flaming cards. I think when he played at Moseley Festival, he cut one of the singers in half, backing singers in half in a
Wow.
box. So if you like bizarre concept sort of bands and that sort of thing, and his music is really really good as well.
Yeah.
fantastic.
It's very
I'll give him a call. I'll give him.
um,
Brian Lightning,
Brian Lightning and the other people that I was going to say, Black Mekon, they're quite unique, aren't they?
Brothers Mekon.
Yeah, they're kind of like they played Japan on
Oh,
multiple occasions. They're about to do a Japanese tour actually again, but they're just from basically up the road from us in King's Heath. But they've played all over the world. Played Brazil.
wow.
They've got quite a storied sort
They
of
would have fun stories for you.
yeah. They wear like almost like Zorro masks. That's their sort of
Interesting.
concept sort of thing, but their music is very sort of garage rock, sort of like very lo-fi. But then
Okay.
like their latest album, they had like almost like some sort of rap in there as well. They're kind of like yeah, they're very good, but they're very sort of like I say, from a concept base, they might be quite an interesting interviewee,
And they're nice guys.
and they're nice guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, are there anybody else you would say or not?
Anyone else want to shout out from Brum? Um, my brain's gone blank, and that's awful, isn't it? But definitely Briley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like I say, he's an interesting guy, Ed, as well. Because I worked with him
Mhm.
in another band, like an almost like indie rock band called Cave Girl. But he was a very different songwriter to the way that I worked. So, as I say, I do mine through like here's an idea and flesh it out. He would have every idea. He'd
Yeah.
know how the drums sound in his head, and he could show somebody. He'd know how the bass. Like he'd show you each individual part. He got it all, the soundscape all there.
Wow.
So. Yeah, he's a very talented guy, and like I
Yeah.
say, he's quite a charismatic guy as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You don't.
I'll
yeah,
definitely give him a call.
yeah.
Well, well, thanks you guys. I really do appreciate this. I thank you guys for coming on and to give me a little bit of a chance here to ask you some questions.
Well, thank you
Oh,
very
no,
much for doing
problem.
so.
Yeah, thanks for the recommendations. I'll definitely hit him up. I wish you guys the best of luck, and hopefully I can see you guys in the future.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
100%.
love to see you guys live.
All
I'll be
right.
with you,
Yeah.
man.
Take it
Looking forward to the
easy.
All
podcast.
right.
See you later, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye
Have a good
bye.
day.
Bye.
Bye.
Try.